All right, everybody, this is our CMA presentation. You got my pro tips for the CMA, and you got the pre-listing packet. You also got what is a CMA? Did you see this one? What is a CMA? It's a front and back page. Can we read through this briefly? Because I don't want to spend too much time on this one. But what I really want to hit is that paragraph towards the middle of the page where the question is, what is a comparative market analysis? Who wants to read that out loud? Just those two paragraphs. Take it, Jean.
A comparative market analysis is a tool used by real estate agents to look at the values of other nearby homes and determine a fair market value for your property. You can think of it sort of like an appraisal, but less formal. Comparative market analysis gives you an idea of what similar homes in your area, parentheses, your comps or comparable properties, close parentheses, are selling for. Real estate agents use these to figure out how much your home is worth, so that when you sell your home, you know you're asking a fair price.
Nice. Let's keep going. What goes into a comparative market analysis? Who'll take that one?
A CMA is a home value calculator. While there are tools that allow you to put your address and get a rough estimate of your home's value, an algorithm is no substitute for deep knowledge of the neighborhood. When a real estate agent conducts a CMA, they look at many different things, including number of bedrooms and bathrooms, overall square footage, features and amenities like a recently renovated master bedroom or chef's kitchen, or age of the home.
Nice. Cool. Does that all sink in with you all? I know this is not news to you. You all are very well aware of a comparative market analysis. Yeah. How does it differ from an appraisal? You know, when someone calls and says, "Hey, this is Steve. Thanks for taking my call, Gabby. I want you to come over and list my house. Can you come over and do an appraisal for me?" Which is a lot of times what I hear from a client, because the vernacular in the public, that's just, you know, what they know. The appraisal, that's a you know, hot word. So how would you respond to that?
Well, first of all, you have to pay money to come, you know, have a professional,
Yeah,
a licensed person, and he will do like a detail of everything in your home,
Mm-hmm.
and he will come up with a number, but it's more formal
Sure.
than our CMA.
Uh-huh.
So
So typically, if I get that call and someone says, "Hey, will you come do an appraisal on my property?" I'll say, "Yeah, Randy, I'm so excited to come and take a look at the house. I'll go ahead and prepare a comparative market analysis," what we're about to learn about, "and I want to come see the house too, so I can get a good judgment on amenities. But I just want you to know, included in my services is I will provide a complimentary comparative market analysis." Now, know that that's not a formal appraisal, like you mentioned. A formal appraisal would be the document that the buyer has to pay for in the transaction. And in this current market, it is a seller or buyer's market. Oh, that was loud. It's like we really know right now. So it is a seller's market. So you don't really need to do an appraisal. I would love to give you an estimation on value. You as the seller, you tell me the price. That's your job. But I would love to be the source for you and show you a good range, and I could really narrow it down with some strong comps. Would you be interested in that? Oh, I'd love that. Save me $450? Absolutely. So and then we go forward working on this comparative market analysis.
And a lot of times, Matt, when an appraisal is done because the mortgage company requires it.
Right, but again, that is paid for by who?
The seller.
The buyer. So in the listing, the seller calls, seller's making money. All right, whatever they paid for that house, they're probably making 30% over market value, depending on the area. The buyer pays for the appraisal. So that's where I break it down. And you don't have to order an appraisal. My job, part of my services in full service real estate, is I'll provide a CMA for you, that comparative market analysis. You don't have to pay an appraiser to come out. That's part of my services. Yeah.
Would the appraisals looking at if there's like an issue with the house that's negative?
No, you're going to know everything. Only thing an appraisal is going to tell you is they're going to justify value. And the bad thing about if you're paying for a seller one is there won't be any like ramifications on a lender required repair, which is the key, like rotted wood or roof issues, because there's no lender involved. So you are doing the CMA to show them what the price, what that price range is, and you're going to get it pretty approximate, and then they're going to tell you where they want to pull the trigger.
So most of these buyers are not doing appraisals, right?
Yeah, the buyers, a lot of times they're doing appraisals. You know, if you got a loan, now sometimes in this competitive market, people are waiving appraisals.
Just to get through the process?
Just to win in multiple offers. You know, I listed a house in Carterville near the mall at Carriage Crossing. These guys came out and got to see we shot the property, did all the listing paperwork together. The house was listed at 334.9. Bear in mind, the Wahlbergs bought it from me in 2016 for 250. All right. So now we're listing at 334.9. We had 24, ended up being 25. The last one was late. 24 offers in 2 days, and it'll close tomorrow morning at 360-ish. I won't tell you exactly where because it hasn't closed just yet. I don't want to jinx anything, but it'll close a good 30K over listing price.
But Matt, that's what.
Waiver of appraisal and inspections.
If the bank comes and do the appraiser and they don't need the 368 for the loan for the buyer, or this is a cash.
It is a loan, but the buyer paid the appraisal gap. Is your question? Who the buyer finances?
The bank doesn't appraise the house.
It didn't appraise. It appraised right at my price. Mary Davis called me. Mary Davis called the appraiser and she said, look, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know that I can get you that purchase price. And I said, I don't blame you. It is unjustifiable. I said, how do you feel about my list price? She said, I can get that. And I said, well, if you notice, the buyer waived the appraisal. They showed a bank statement that had 50K in cash to show they had liquid assets on top of closing cost and down payment.
So if the bank did not appraise it for 68, they have to come out with cash.
Correct.
But think about it. Think about this. A lot of people go to, oh my goodness, the buyers are paying overages. I can't believe this is happening. This is it. It's not changing. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw the cut from Dave Ramsey in his show. He had a caller in that said, are we in a housing bubble? Is this a housing crisis? No, not at all. The only time property values ever decreased in his 35 years of having a real estate license was in the Great Recession of 07, 08. They took a little dive and they are well back from where they were before. The problem is new construction. We're at a deficit of about 3 years of inventory of new construction, and lumber prices are raising. So now it's slowing the process. So this is likely the new normal. I think the craziness will slow. The amount of people, the competition of offers. I think the craziness will slow where it doesn't inflate price so much. But these prices, I see them being stable. You know, you can.
Sue Turner said something in our last class last week, like 10 years for the next 10 years. But my concern was like, if you're not getting those appraisals and you're representing a buyer, are they on down the road gonna be resistant to use you again in their next home purchase because they're gonna feel like it's gonna come back on you because they paid so much more for the house?
A standard of practice that I have told my agents in our sales meetings is when you're putting an offer in on a property and you know that it is over market value, I now include the comps with the purchase and sale agreement and all the CROW-like disclosures and disclaimers. I pull those MAR data comps and they sign them. They sign them and I sign them and we talk through them. I am fully transparent and full disclosure with my people. And it's not I want you to pay 30K over. It's they've lost offers on 20 houses. They've been in an apartment with 4 kids for 6 months. They need a house. That 30K in cash is fine to cover their mental sanity. Okay.
Because that was the other thing. I'm like, who's buying? I mean,
So we're signing comps.
I've been waiting.
And that is a full disclosure, me doing my fiduciary duty to my client. And also that is covering you as the realtor so that if in 3 years, amnesia strikes and good Lord, Matt, why do you let me buy that house 30K over market value? It's going to take me 10 years to recoup it. And I just got to reload to Kansas. Well, I told you at that point, it was a heavy seller's market. We even signed comps in the offer, and I can email you a copy if you want to look at it again, but we talked about it. And I'm sorry that's condition.
Do you think their resale value will stay solid with that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You're seeing
Because
solid
that's really what
appreciation.
I was like, how is this going to go? Because I mean, the whole idea is that you have repeat clients every.
Now it depends on how high they're going over this appraised value. If someone going a good 30% over market value, they need to be there probably 5 years. Andy fee at Crump Mortgage, if you ever worry about it, I'm coming right back to you. If you ever worry about value and about being possibly too high, if you use Andy fee at Crump, you can send him the address. 123 Main Street, it's listed at 300K. We're going to go in at 350. He will give you an appreciation model that'll show you how long it's going to take that buyer to recoup their money in the property. And he did one for me recently. We went in, we had to go 30K over. It was about 300 in Carville, and they're going to recoup in 3 years if market trends stay the same, and it'll probably be before that.
And who is that?
Andrew O'Fee. He's at Crump Mortgage.
That's a photographer.
He was in sales meeting yesterday. He shoots houses too. He wasn't my photographer that day. Yeah, he's at Crump. Yeah, Crump is affiliated with Community Mortgage.
So when would you order an appraisal ahead of time before you put it on market?
Well,
A rural piece of property?
yeah, it just depends, and you got to use your sound judgment. I know Judy Mack orders an appraisal just about on every listing she does. Mary Davis goes out and does an appraisal for her on every property, but that's part of her package. You know, you as the agent shows, this is what I'll provide you, Mr. Seller. I provide my sellers a deep cleaning before photos. I pay for the photos, and there's a closing gift. All right. I don't pay for an appraisal. I wish I was at the Judy Mack echelon. Okay. One day, a guy has dreams. I'd love to pay for somebody's appraisal. But anyways, you use your sound judgment, you know, and think about what she's listing. She's listing eccentric properties, $500,000 up. You know, she says 200K to 2 million. She's not listing anything for 200K likely. So it just depends. If you're concerned on it, get an appraisal. In this market, it's not necessary because you list it and the price is going to inflate.
What did you say you provide for people, and is that the buyer or the seller, the deep clean?
For sellers, I provide a deep cleaning through Magic Broom. I also use Clean and Pink. Clean and Pink's a preferred vendor. Magic Broom did the deep clean on Ash Glen that y'all saw, and then we shot the house. Buyer asked for a deep clean again, so I called Clean and Pink. So they're going to come out and do this one. They did it yesterday.
Can I just make one comment?
You may.
When it comes to, it's just like selling a house. You know, the homeowner says, no, man, I really want to list my house at this price. You can encourage, you can recommend, but at the end of the day, it's the seller who says, I want to list my house at this price.
Oh,
And it's the
absolutely.
same for when that buyer says, you know, you can explain everything to them and they say, okay, I get it, but I really want this house. So if they decide they want to go over that price, you may say, hey, I don't think this is worth it. Or, it may be a lot of agents won't say that because maybe they're trying to get commission, but you can do all.
Is it your job to say if a house is worth it?
Well, not say not worth it, but just say, you know, I just want to make sure you're aware.
Yes.
This.
Sure.
And if they say, you know what, Matt, I get all that, but I want this house. It's really, the ultimate is really on the buyer and the seller.
It's
Because
always
I
the
can
client's
do anything.
decision.
I can recommend, I can encourage, I can do all those things, but at the end of the day, it's you who's writing that check. It's you who's signing your name.
You're the source. You are the source of information. It's their decision. All right. My agent saw this yesterday. And before we get too far into the weeds, I want to share this with you all. Now that we've had some good discussion getting into the CMA and understanding practically what a CMA is, if you'll take a peek at my next page, pro tips for a CMA. Spoiler alert is number 4. Remember law of supply and demand. Okay. This is a good depiction using an apple as the comparison to real property these days. This is a good depiction of current demand. All right.
Is that apple for sale? Yeah, we're about to put it on sale right now, actually. Well, I'm in the market, so tell me about your apple. Why should I buy it? Nice try. Okay, people, here's how this is going to work. I have an apple here. The highest bidder's going home with this. I want all bids in the next 2 minutes, then we're closing it. Bidding starts at $5. Feeling pretty confident there, huh? I mean, don't you think? $10. He said starting at 5. 15. Is this a new apple? Yeah, just listed. I'm pre-qualified. I'll pay cash. I got cash. 20, 30, 40. No, just make it 45. Is it even worth that? 50. I don't know. Please, this is the 8th apple I've tried to buy. Could I at least see it up close? Nope, it's an apple. You know what it is. You either want it or you don't. I'll take it for 100. What? I'm from California. It's the cheapest apple I've ever seen. 120. Why did I do that?
Why did I do that?
Oh my God, that's a good one.
So that is a pretty good depiction of what the market is like right now.
Yeah.
All right. Now we have a ton of cash buyers in this market. Don't get me wrong. But you have a mass exodus happening out of California, and they are coming to Texas, Tennessee, and Florida. And that is where the migration is shifting. You're constantly seeing moving trucks out of California. So that is my mindset of, are we in a bubble? No. But yeah, we will start to see some ramifications. California, clearly I love Carnival. I may say it a couple more times. California is so severely dense that they've had a shortage of inventory for decades. So do I think prices may decrease in California? Yeah, not anytime soon. It'll probably take a couple years, but if more people and more corporations start shifting and working virtually, people want to be in beautiful scenic places where they can buy a $300,000 house here that the comparable house in California is $3 million.
I had people on softball team, daughters from California,
Mhm.
bought 2 houses in Knoxville, $1.5 million.
Yeah, because again,
There's nothing
no
costing-
apple costs that much
Mhm.
and is that affordable in California.
Their parents are 80 years old and $1 million house now.
Yeah. So anyways, there's my spoiler alert. Always think about supply and demand. Okay. Take a look at these pro tips for a CMA. I just want to keep it brief. Most importantly, live life local. All I mean by that is keep it so local. All right. Local being key. Nothing about live life, but just think about local. What are our basic requirements that you guys know of in the business for a CMA? What are we looking for? What is criteria? We just listed it. Can you remember offhand? Anybody, just shout it out. Location, square footage, size. Yes. What else are we thinking? Bedroom, baths, amenities, year built. Yeah. What about time frame? How long can we go back in the MLS?
6 months.
6 months. Now in this market, 6 months, generally speaking, is relevant, but think about listing a house today in April, hitting peak season in a seller's market. It may behoove you to go like 90 days back. If you can get 3 solid sold comps within 90 days, use those because that value is going to be the most relevant in this market. I did not hear that when I'm learning, CMA pricing in Crowlite College back in 2013, because the market wasn't like this. Okay. So generally speaking, you want to look, if possible, in the same subdivision, similar square footage, closed in the last 6 months. We're pulling active, closed, and pending sales. And just always think of the rule of 3. All right. I'm a big fan of trilogies. Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Adele has 3 albums about her ages. Okay. Think of the rule of 3. What do I mean by 3? Anybody? 3 solid comps, 3 sold. You want 3 closed comps you can justify. Number 2, be intentional choosing comps. We talked about how intentional we're going to be. So specific that we're looking for very much similar bedrooms, year bills, subdivision, neighborhood, as micro of a density as you can get. Number 3, use the most current data. That ties into the rule is 6 months. We can go back as far as 6 months. If it's a rural property, if it's land, or maybe it's a log cabin in Somerville, and nothing's closed in the area, we have a couple sales in 2 years. Then if it's a rural property, you may back out 2 years. You have different criteria if you're not in a major metropolitan area. Memphis, you can easily get, a solid 6 months of easy 3 comps. Olive Branch, South Haven, which location are you? Olive Branch, you can easily get 6 months worth of comps. You don't have to pull out. Now if you go showing Walls, maybe Walls hasn't had that many sales. So you may have to go instead of 6 months to a year. So just in using most current data, you may notate, urban versus rural, meaning urban, you want to look 3 months to 6 months. Rural, you want to look 6 months to maybe a year if you need the comps. If not, don't worry about it. And then 4, remember law of supply and demand. So these days we give the range in our CMA of, I think this house could list anywhere from 340 to 350. And then the seller says, well, I really wanted to try like 355, maybe 360. It's like, well, it is, I'm not at the high end of the range, and I can show that there is a likelihood there. But also when anyone talks to me about that, I want to talk about the rule of marketing. Because I learned to sell real estate with my wife's grandmother, who is like that bargain basement lady. All right. So she says, you want to list at 360. No, that's too high. You needed to go 359.9. She's like the rules of 9s. She likes to see those 9s. It's $100 less, but psychologically it does something. And it does. It absolutely does. So if you can justify it, sure. If the seller picks the price, it'll likely go at list price or inflate. So just take that into consideration. A year or 2 years down the road, while you're still practicing, we may not be in this temperature of a seller's market. So just be aware of what's going on. And the best way you can do that is be plugged into your Tuesday sales meetings. If your broker offers any kind of new agent training or anything, you need to be aware of current market situations, because you don't want to be getting your first or second buyer. You're working with someone and you don't know what the situation is in the market, and you're asking for home warranties, or, you know, you're taking a cut on purchase price and you just are losing all these offers. You want to look like the professional. Again, it's their decision, but you're showing them this is the condition of the market. This is what's happening. All right. So let's do a CMA. Are y'all ready? All right. Look at the next section. I've got their pre-listing packet. This pre-listing packet is pretty much my CMA. So if you want to just kind of, you know, arrow all the way 1 through 6 and just write CMA beside it, this is everything I include in my CMA. And when Gabby, the seller, calls me and says she wants to list her home at 433 Old Oak, you've got 2 options. And I always, you know, check the temperature of the client. You can do a 1-step listing consultation where you've prepared this pre-listing packet. Maybe you pop by and drop it off so they can have some time to read through it and digest it. And then you set up a date to come in and actually meet them, sit at the kitchen table, get a look at the property. That's what I do for my power players. Okay, so anybody who is on the go and they don't have a lot of time, you know, 2 steps, meeting them at their house this Monday and then again next Monday, it's too cumbersome. I don't do that. Now, some people want that. Some people need that education. So you just kind of have to judge your people. So if you do the 2-step, I would drop off this pre-listing packet, all this comparative market analysis before your meeting there at the property. And a lot of times it could be virtual. And now you've got the joy of Authenticsign where you can send things for electronic signature, which is cool. Any questions on a 1-step versus a 2-step consultation? I know my people know about it, but I don't know if you guys, is that sinking in? Do you know what I mean? Okay, cool. So pre-listing packet, what am I including? Most recent sold subject property report from Paragon, the MAR data tax PDF, MLS comparable sales, an RPR report, the buy-side BMA, and I like to throw in some online AVMs. And as you see there, I didn't want to curse on that paper, so I tried to blur out the Z word as much as possible. I don't like to use profanity unless necessary, so I won't say anything about Zillow as that could be an antitrust violation. So that was my joke for you there. Again, pull that Zillow report. Why do I pull it? Why do I look at Zillow for this information? If I preach all day long that Zillow holds inaccurate information longer than it should be, and the algorithms could be skewed, why do I go there? Because that's where they are.
And people, like regular people that they don't know, they will go and look at Zillow.
Yes.
And they're gonna kind of ask you. So you need to
Joe from California, before he buys a house in Carville, the first place he probably looked was Zillow. Yeah, I want to know what they're knowing, because the seller, who may be a layman to knowing property value, they know what Zillow is. They looked at Zillow. I pray they looked at Realtor.com. It is much better and much more reliable. But I know they looked at Zillow, so that's where I want to go. I want to go where the people go. Isn't that a Little Mermaid song? I want to go where the people go. But anyway, all right. So here's what we do. I'm going to do this on my personal property. So if you're following along with me, this is 433 Old Oak. So I want to know what it most recently sold for. I start with Paragon. You all are logged in and have MLS access, correct? Showing of hands, everybody has MLS access. Yours will be Flex. So I'm going to show Paragon because I got mostly Tennessee, but I can show you a Flex. Have you done a CMA in Flex before? Oh, cool. Stay after, we can chat. Okay, cool. All right, so what I do here is I go to the quick search area, and in this active status, in the status I go closed, closed, because again, I want to pull up the most recent sold. Let's see here. I'm going to stop the screen share for just a moment. All right, here we go. All right, so quick search. I type in closed. Then in the address bar, I'm going to go 433 Old Oak. I would do this on your home. So your homework today, write it wherever you need to, where you're keeping notes, is go do this full CMA pre-listing packet on your property. You got to know how to do this, all the steps, and be able to talk through it. Okay.
So can we step back just for a moment?
Sure.
I put my glasses on. All right, so go to quick search.
So I'm just here on the left, and I went to quick search.
You didn't go on listing or?
No, I went right here because I want to pull up the most recent sold. I just want to get an agent report because that's going to have a lot of data on it that I need.
Okay.
All right.
Go to the street number.
Yeah, so I did closed 433 Old Oak. I hit enter, and here's what it pulled up. This is when I bought it. All right, so I'm going to click on that. That is the most recent. So we can see here 433 Old Oak Lane. This is what it originally was listed at. It was not a seller's market then, praise the Lord. We bought it at 205.5, and we even, you can see there, this is how I know if my seller had any closing costs paid on their behalf. See right here where it says seller contribution? The seller paid $5,000 toward my closing cost. Okay, so the sold square footage is going to be on this report. I print this in color, and I put this in theirs, and I print 2 of everything, so I can keep it, put it in my file, and I'm going to give 1 to them. I'm going to put in a nice manila folder and take to their house. So again, this report will tell you the sold square footage, the seller contributions. It'll tell you original price and the sales price. Those are the big pieces of information I want on this. A pro tip, when you list the property, because you are going to list this, you're going to win this listing interview, it already has dimensions in here from the previous MLS. So I keep these, so I don't necessarily have to measure it. I have a digital measuring device. So I got it from Lowe's. And if I'm ever worried, I just spot check it. Okay. But that'll also give you all that information. It gives you the Mars subdivision, Quailcrest section B-2, the lot number. So what I do here, once I've got it, is I print a PDF of this. All right. More actions. I'll just show you a PDF. Here we go. There you are. All right. Any questions on that? Pretty easy. That's the full agent report. That's number 1. So we know how to do that. That is our most recent sold. Now, I want to go to MAR data and pull up the tax PDF on the property. Anybody can tell me how to do that? Yeah, let me get out of here for you so you can actually see. So if I'm looking, you know, I'll tell you a couple ways to do this. I don't want it to give me a report. Let me do this again. You see at the MLS, see where it says tax? All right. At the top here, tax. Okay. So click tax and then go MAR data. Most of this is going to be applicable for you except for some of my MAR data stuff. Mississippi's a non-disclosure state, so it gets to be a little bit hairier, but it's still very doable. Okay. So from here, this is the home page for MAR data. All right. Make sure that your county you've got in there correctly. This is Shelby County. It's in Collierville. Just start typing in the address, but don't finish it because intuitively MAR data will show the address below. So 433 hold. There it is right there. We want to click on it because it's very sensitive, this program. So, you know, if you type in Lane, L-A-N-E, it's not going to find it. So less is more. All right. Less is more when it comes to that. So click on the address and submit. Now, this gives you a really nice report on the property. Here are all the historical photos of the house. And I'll tell you, just to give you insight on the property because you haven't walked it. So let's pretend you walked it with me, your seller, Mr. Morgan. You're going to walk 433 Old Oak. Since we have bought the house, we painted the full exterior. We did, the brick is painted and all of the wood is painted. We added gutters to the property. When we bought it, it was 2,100 square feet. The upstairs where you see that dormer, see one dormer window, and then I got that huge pin oak tree. You can't see the other dormer window behind it. That was all expandable attic. Okay, so there was a staircase went to the attic. It was all floored. Nothing was done. In the last few years, we finished it because we were outgrowing the playroom. We have too much pink and purple. So it is a bedroom with 2 built-in twin beds to fit that attic dormer wall. It's got enough windows for code. It's got a walk-in closet and a full bathroom up there. So I bought a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. You can see it right here. It is now, because you're going to have to do some adjusting on this one. So I wanted to give you a wonky one to show you how this is how it's an easy one. And this is how we do some adjustments. Okay. Because lots of people are putting improvements in their property. A lot of people have cash now, whether it's from government stimulus or not traveling for a full year. People have some liquid asset and they want to invest in their house. So instead of a 3-bed, 2.5 bath, it's now a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath. All right, so be keeping those notes because we're going to have to change this in a minute. Now, number 2 was we just want to print off of this report. So the way I do this, it's all here. I just print it, and I want to print an original report. It's typically about 2 to 3 pages, and I'm going to save the PDF just so you can see it too. So let's take a look here. This is going to brand the PDF with Not a lot of your real estate information. The good branding is going to come on the buy side report. You're going to see in a minute. This is unbranded. So this looks pretty formal. Like it looks like a government report. I don't know if y'all feel the same way, but there's a ton of really great data on here, and sellers love this because they can see, you know, sold square footage. It shows you what it last sold for. You can find that on this report too. So again, are you seeing multiple ways to find data that you need? All right, there's always a different way to tackle it. This one, now MAR data includes school district information. When you were licensed before, that was not in the MLS. That's new as of about a year ago. So those of you that are fresh, this is huge.
If they change the school system, it will show there. I mean, it's all created all the time.
Technically, but it says, you know, down here in fine print, because of attorneys, information deemed reliable but not guaranteed. Yeah. So I always tell my sellers, just because you have a disclaimer form that says 2 pages of I don't know nothing about nothing as a realtor, that you can't affect school district changing. So, you know, if you're worried, check it. Yeah. All right. So here is, you know, most recent owners. You got all the tax information. You even have when the mortgage histories of the property, when different people closed on the property. All right. So here is the new square footage. If you're taking notes, square footage is now 2744. Because remember, we're going to have to make an adjustment. So that's it. That is number 2. So you can check that one off. We know how to do that.
Who made that adjustment in there? You did it all. Who made that adjustment?
An appraisal was recorded. That's a very good question. How did they know? The government knows everything. Yeah, what happened is we closed in 2014. We closed in 2014. Rates were high. I paid a whopping 4.25. So we refinanced. And so when we refinanced, it was after the upstairs was finished. We had a new appraisal, a new measurement was recorded with the refi that you can see in my mortgage history. And then they updated it. Yeah. So we just got our reappraisal in Shelby County. The property reappraised for, it was originally appraised at 200,000, pretty close to price, and not reappraised for 356. So it increased, the reappraisal went up 156K. Y'all, I'm dying. I'm working on my informal review now to change it. I don't even know that I could sell it today for 356. I probably could in Cargill, but it's not worth that much, you know. So I as the realtor am gonna, and my agent saw yesterday how to do a formal review and how to put your comps together. So now I'm in the process of doing that for my house. So check your reappraisal information. Make sure you are not way high, because you can fight that. There's a link on the Shelby County site for the informal review.
I've never heard of anybody winning.
I have.
You have?
I have in this most recent reappraisal. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Excuse me, y'all. I'm getting warm. I'm so excited about CMAs. All right. Any questions about this? This is number 2, like I said, the MAR data report. Now I want to show you something else really cool you can do in MAR data. So we were here. Again, this is just the home page. I'd search for the property. See that tab that says CMA CSA? Pull a CMA through MAR data. So click CMA and it does it for you. Okay. But notice here, it thinks that the property right here is the correct square footage. So it's telling me the value is probably close to the 350s there. You can see I've got 2 solid comps. MAR data already pulled for me, and it's pricing me at $138.30 a square foot. It already pulled it. So I just print this report for a copy for me and a copy for the seller too. Now check out this. This is something that's brand new too. That's really cool and very easy to use. A home improvement value calculation. All right. Your seller was on the phone, me, and I just told you what I did to my house. Do you remember what I just did?
Yeah, you did the gutters,
And
the bedroom and the bathroom.
no, the big things. Be listening for big ticket items. Painting a house is big these days. Painting a house, an appraiser will tell you, will probably increase your market value 5 to 10K, depending on your price range. Painted brick, isn't that bizarre? So painted brick will increase your value. Okay, so I did a family room addition. You can see here, you got lots of options when you pull this down. So let's go here, back to family room addition. I said there was 30,000 spent on it. Quality, I'll say high quality, and let's submit that. You can see there for that $30,000, they're telling me whatever the market value is, I should inflate how much? 16.8. Hey, if you want a copy of this, make sure you leave me your email. And if y'all want, you can write them below the page too. Just put your first name in your email.
Right here.
So you see that right there? 16.8. So for a $30,000 remodel, I'm going to get over half of it. Let's keep going. I did a kitchen remodel. We just added granite. So I said it was a minor remodel. We did granite. We did a backsplash. We painted the cabinets, painted the walls. I said improvement quality was mid. I just want to underestimate on this one because I just did granite. I didn't add new cabinets. And I have a $10,000 expense. Mar data is telling me per the comps, I can justify it by adding $7,300. Isn't this cool?
Now, when you
So
did
just
that,
plug it in and it does.
like I did that 10 years ago. I've been in my house 27 years. Do I still add that from 10 years ago?
It's not a remodel right now. Right now it's your kitchen. You know, and I'm not trying to be rude. You're looking at, I want to know something that's been done in the last 2 to 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if it's HVAC or roof, if it's 10 to 15 years, I want to know that too. 10 to 15 years is a lot better than a 25-year roof.
Yeah.
But if it's like a swimming pool.
But if you're talking about your remodel, like I go to Miss Margie Smith's house and she says, "Oh, Matthew, my house is beautiful. We remodeled the master bathroom 45 years ago." And I walk in and it's like that teal cultured marble and, you know, the brass sinks. And I'm like, "Oh, Miss Margie, it's gorgeous." I don't know that we'll do the improvement for the bathroom, but maybe let's put it on that new granite you did in the kitchen. All right. So a seller's eyes is sparkly, and I want to be, I don't want to suspend that disbelief, but I want to help them get to reality. Now, I'm not saying, you know, yours is 10 years.
Yeah, mine's 10 years with granite.
So if it's granite, that's, you know, you got granite. That's different. So think about the improvement in a specific nature. All right. If it's granite, yes. If you upgraded 10 years ago and you got Corian, yeah.
Would you do like swimming pools there, or is just, that would be like in a different?
No, there's no swimming pool. Back in the day, what did the appraisers tell you to add value with a swimming pool?
15?
I'm not asking y'all. You don't remember? When? Well, see, when I first started, it was bad. Like, you don't want a house in Memphis with a pool. Houses with a pool got a decreased value. About 2015, the table turned, and I'm getting calls from appraisers saying, "Oh no, you know, with whatever your market value, add a good 5 to 10K for a pool." Now that's like a gunite. And again, what's a gunite pool going to run you these days? Oh yeah. In that, depending on how much you do, your waterfall feature, 70 to 100K for a gunite pool. A vinyl liner pool, you can get a nice pool put in ground for probably 30K. But even with a almost 100K pool, you can add about a 10K to the value. So if your buyer is there and they're a transplant from Germany working for FedEx and only here 5 years, and they ask me if a pool is going to bring a good ROI, absolutely not. But if it helps you with your lifestyle and you don't get to travel a lot, and if y'all want to enjoy that pool, do it. Do it for you if you want, but it's not going to improve your ROI dramatically. Nowadays, though, it will help your days on the market because a house in Memphis goes with a pool now, you know? And again, when I started, I was working with Joyce as a transaction coordinator starting in probably 2010. And from 2010 to 2015, it's like, ugh, no pool. Now it's all people want. They want the pool.
Because they copy, they give it for everybody's more. It's not an equal.
Yes.
I can still, some people like it.
Right. And it just depends.
Most of the houses with pools are in Cordova.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
Aw.
I want to live in Cordova.
Yeah.
Well, they all have.
But it's got to have a pool.
Do you think COVID probably increased that too? People want to stay home?
I think COVID increased everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right,
Everything.
everything.
I am. Yeah. So I'll share it. If you make, again, PSA, when you leave, write me your email. I'm going to put this on my private YouTube channel and then I'll just email you the link. So Flex doesn't have something like this, but I'll show you through Flex in a moment. Yeah. It's a little bit different. Everything else is pretty much you're going to have except the MLS specific things. And I'll show you how to find a lot of those videos on Flex too. Yeah. Okay. So there's that. There are, so go ahead and if you're writing notes down, you know, whatever our value is, let's go ahead and add 16,800 plus 7,300 plus 6,400. So take notes of those figures. 16,800 is for the family room addition. And the kitchen remodel was 7,300. And then we also replaced we had original wood windows that were rotted. We replaced them all with vinyl windows at about a $10,000 expense. And that they're justifying 6,400 for my window replacement.
And do you have a timetable on that too?
Windows, I would say if you got new windows within the last like 2 to 5 years. Yeah. Now, are they vinyl windows? Oh, justify it. Maybe do like mid improvement quality since the age is deferred. I always err on the side of caution. These are brand new. Like I just got these in. Also got a brand new garage door. My wife didn't like our garage door, so she ran right into it. So I'm not going to add the garage door.
But that will add value.
It'll absolutely add value because now we have this beautiful new white garage door and a new garage motor that works with the MyQ app. Yeah. Yeah. So I can on my phone, like my mom watches the kids a lot. So she'll come over from Arkansas. She just has her app and she'll hit the button on the app and it'll open our garage.
I would just consider that regular maintenance if you had a garage door run into, but I guess not.
A brand new garage door and a brand new motor is going to add you a little value. I didn't include it because I feel like I'm adding a lot of value. And again, I want to err on the side of caution. All right. So that's quick. That's how I get that. It gives me all of these comps here and it already pulled it for me. So let's update results. Let's see what happens. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, I didn't fill in the information. That would be helpful. So let's do, there haven't been a ton of sales. So I want to pull in, instead of subdivision, which I typically would pull, if you're in a big subdivision like High Point Terrace or something like that, but I want to do wide area and go down to Collierville. And I want to do anything else here, square footage. See, the square footage is recording as old. So let's do 2,400 to 2,800.
And what is yours now?
2,744.
Okay.
Yeah. And then hit update results. Oh, here, throw in your bedrooms and bath. You have them. Let's do 3 to 4 bedroom houses and bathroom. Let's do a 2 to 4 bath. And update results. Then it's going to pull down below. So you can scroll down to the bottom of the page. You can see active listings. So you definitely have 3. You can see recent MLS sold listings here. And you can find more data sales all within here. So there you go. There's your total. And you can print that report right here on this button. It'll tell you max sales price was $425. I know that's high. Average sales price is about $348. And a lot of the algorithms online will show you that this property is close to the 340s. Then add those additions that you made, because this is just your comparable value. All right. So then you sitting at the table say, here's the report. Let's go ahead and add these improvements to it.
Can you go back up?
Yeah.
So the improvement.
Okay, so what's the difference between MLS sold and MAR data?
MAR data is going to be all sales, including for sale by owner, things that are unlisted. Now, a lot of times if you're the selling agent, like I represent the buyer and I show, let's say I'm showing Brenda's property and Brenda's a seller, no listing, and I bring the buyer, I can input that listing in the MLS as my listing, call MAR, they'll flip it and make it an unlisted property. So I get credit as the selling agent. And why do I want credit? Because what's our goal when we're in the business? What do we want to attain? We want commissions, and the more commissions you get, you enter into the multi-million-dollar club. So that's kind of what I was always told is like your goal should be multi-million-dollar club. At CrowdLike, what's the requirement? Do you guys know? 3 million. Yeah. What's the requirement for MAR?
3 million over what period of time?
A year.
It's $3 million in volume in that year. Yeah.
Mars is 2 million.
No. MAR is 3.5. MAR MMDC is now 3.5. It's fun. I'm on the board of governors for MAR MMDC, and we're having a killer election meeting on Friday. We're going to be at the zoo at Teton Trek. No guests get to come. Usually MMDC events, guests are allowed to join, but it'll be members only because we're at a capacity limitation due to COVID. But it'll be good to get together.
So you said MLS is 3.5, MAR is 3 million?
MAR MMDC is 3.5. CrowdLike $1 million club is 3 million. All right, so there's that. Now what I want to show you is just a quick pulling of comps through Paragon. So again, we're here in Paragon. I want to be the source of the source. So I'm pulling lots of information to justify value. So to do just a quick a CMA through Paragon, I go search tab at the top. I pull down residential. And in the status bar right here at the top, I want to look up all active, closed, and pending. All right, I'm including active, closed, and pending. I want to go down here and I want to change my status date to 6 months back. I want to go to bedrooms. I'm going to put in a minimum of 3 bedrooms, maximum of 4 bedroom homes, bedrooms down. I don't want to put that because again, if you put that, it's going to limit your searches. So if you've got a buyer looking for a house that specifically has 2 bedrooms down, you do it then. Right now, I just want to make sure I get all the comps I can see. So full baths, let's do a minimum of 2 to 3.
When you happen to have bedrooms, do you consider that half like a one? Like if you have.
There's a half bath. See the tab? Right under full bath, you can put in your half baths. I'm not going to include it. Again, less is more. I don't want to limit anything. So I put in active, closed, pending.
If you put in a half bath, it's only going to take a house that has a half a bath.
It's going to leave all the houses that have only 4 full bathrooms.
Right.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Good statement. Connecting the dots. Thank you. Sometimes I go a little fast, so you got to slow me down so I make sure I understand the questions.
I'm only laughing because I know he said that. That's why he said that.
Oh. All right. Now, again, I don't want to do subdivision on this one. I want to do a map radius. Okay, so if I want to do a map radius of this, how far out can I go? You know, we talked about you want to stay within this. I said originally, you want to stay within the same neighborhood if possible. But again, this one's different because I hadn't had any sales. So you know this answer. How far out can I go mile-wise from the subject property? 1. Go 1 mile out. If you're in a dense urban setting, go 1 mile out. Now think about the spread of a mile diameter. That's huge. A mile out. Now, if you are in Walls, if you're in rural Fayette County, you probably want to go 2-3 miles out because you don't have subdivisions, neighborhoods. You have miles that you can stretch.
But as dense as Collierville is in selling, can you go half a mile to get your neighborhood?
You could, but again, there haven't been that many transactions. So I could, in a normal market, easily. I could just type in Quail Crest and get plenty. There's nobody selling. There, you know, marketing does my mail outs for me, and I do a market snapshot every quarter, just like you do. And I had one closed sale. So I talked to Gabby about it yesterday. We felt bad about sending it because hers was, I don't know, yours wasn't even in the subdivision, or it was a bank sale or something. So it showed a lower value. Mm-hmm. So we both pivoted because there's not the recent data. We pivoted and we put out that reappraisal postcard because the call to action is a QR code on that for them to see what their home's worth. And that takes them straight to your buy side portal. And then you as the agent get the email. So pivot if it's not helpful, there just weren't a lot. So let me show you how to do this map. So go to mapping here at the top and you see the little globe. We click on that globe. Spinny wheel, give it a moment. All right, so I just want to, right here in the middle where it says center map and zoom on this address, I want to type in 433 Old Oak Lane, Collierville, TN. And then I want to hit that little magnifier, so we zoom in on it. Boom, there it is, that little number 1, you see it right here. Now it says search radius. I want to do the radius. I'm going to, again, put in 1 mile radius. Search radius. Now, good. You see all those little dots popping up? Okay. Cool. Those are closed, pending, and active listings. So now that I've added it, I've already put that in my criteria. It's giving me a mapping zone. Go back to right here where it says criteria. You can see I've got 80. Wow, that's a ton. So what did I tell you as an option you can do if you are in a dense area and you don't necessarily need 6 months?
2 miles.
Yeah, let's lessen the time frame. So let's look at most recent stuff. Let's go 24 months back. Oh, hold on. There we go, 90 days back. 42. All right, let me take out those bathrooms. Let's see what happens. Yeah, 45, wow. So we've got so many, what else could I do to limit it?
Can you change instead of pending because they're not sold yet? Just do those.
Yeah, I mean, I want a good picture of everything, but think about specificity. Like we're trying to get really specific with our comps. What else could I add?
Half a mile?
Yeah, let's try it.
And change it to 60 days versus 90 days.
All right, so you see here, you see the lines with the 1. All right, those are layers that'll show you. Now I want to get rid of this map right here. So it is listed right here. So let's exit that. Let's go back into the map because we're going to change this. We're going to go 433 Old Oak Lane, Collierville, TN. Remember, hit that magnifying glass. And let's go 0.5 and search radius. Cool. So looking back at criteria, now we have 11. That's much easier to work with, right? If I had a prize, I'd throw it to you. That was a good option. I have a donut, but you don't want me to throw a donut at you. All right, this is going to give you an MLS spreadsheet of all of these. So this will give you quick data that you can see here. I already see I have some really good close down here. These are close in proximity, but again, know the area. Greenview is a subdivision that is north of Powell Road. Those homes are smaller in square footage, so they're going to close for less. All right. So again, know your micro area and know the macro area pretty well. How do I pull a quick report from this off of these listings? Go to the green button. I didn't mean to cut you off. Tell me what to do next. Then
To the CMA.
yes, and then CMA summary. So fast, it pulls it for you so quickly. And look how pretty this is.
You hit reports.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Reports, CMA, and then CMA summary.
But after you pick all the house.
And that listed all the houses that were just up there at the same time.
Mm-hmm. This
You
is
had to
all
click on
11.
One house, it did it all.
Yeah, this is everything.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. All right. So I'm trying to get this to close. There we go. Now you can see some residential summary stats, high price, low price. You can see these are kind of all over. So you as the agent have to figure out which one is most applicable. These are my sold. I have 3 solid comps right here: Venice, Spring Mill, and Colbert. And I definitely want to use those. I want to even go back and take out Greenview, Cove, and Road. Do you know how to do that? Anybody?
Click on that
Click
1
on
and
the-
2.
Click on the
delete.
MLS number.
You go back.
No,
Go
click
back.
first.
Go back.
First.
Yeah, and let's do
And then
this.
you just hit the little box and delete it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna check this box. So it checks them all. I checked this one. See, it checks them all. And then I'm gonna go uncheck this one and this one. I don't care about that pending one. That's okay. We'll just leave it. I want to leave one that's low. You want to leave one that's high. As long as you get 3 solid close, and those 3 I just showed you are perfect comps. So remember, I went back.
Even on the pending one you included in there?
Yeah. I want to see everything, active, closed, and pending. Because when I'm sitting at the table or when I give them this report, I want them to see it. They know what's pending in the market. They better see that I know. So again, go to reports, CMA, CMA summary. It was just giving me a water break. Any questions on any of that so far? Has that been too fast? You tracking?